Welcome back, everyone, to the Innings Podcast with your host, Alec Pecano, and co-host, Bradley Walker. Tonight's show is quite loaded. We're going to talk about all the free agent signings that have happened, and we are also going to try to do our best to predict where the rest of the big-name free agents and smaller free agents are going to sign. And we're also going to talk about some prospects on today's show. And same thing with tomorrow's show. We are going to talk about prospects. But let's get right into it and get started. The big fish is off the board, and that would be Juan Soto. Are either of us surprised that he signed with the Mets?
Kind of surprised. I mean, I thought maybe the Yankees would have retained him because he got along well with Aaron Judge. I think they made a pretty good duo that in the outfield. But again, Steve Cohen has like the he's got his pockets are loaded, so he can go ahead and sign anybody he wants, and that's kind of the downfall to baseball is there's no salary cap, and that's what.
And what I'm going to say is he's got the infinity stone of money.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He snaps his fingers and he can sign anybody.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm surprised is they didn't sign Corbin Burns. That's the other big fish that was out there. On the pitching side, Corbin Burns to the Diamondbacks. And then I'll go back to before we do that, I'm going to say I'm not surprised that Soto signed with the Mets. The team that was most funny to me that was going after him was Toronto. And we've seen this movie before with the Blue Jays. They were in on Ohtani last year. And what happened? They weren't willing to pay up. If they were, they probably would have been in the final contention for Ohtani before he went to the Dodgers. But now to Corbin Burns. What is this sign? What is Corbin Burns signing with the Diamondbacks? What does that do for them? Does that make them a contender in their own division?
Well, again, they have to look up at LA, obviously, the defending champs coming into the season. So you're always looking up at LA. And we know that Diamondbacks were in the World Series just 2 years ago when they lost to the Texas Rangers. But I mean, this will definitely help them. They have a pretty good nucleus in Arizona. And I like everything else, like in any other sport, teams go through, their lows. And I think the Diamondbacks have gone through their lows. Now they've got the players in them. And again, if you have the right manager, you could have, I'm not going to say mediocre players, but average players that can get you to a World Series. I mean, Joe Madden with the Rays. I'm not calling anybody on the Rays mediocre or average or anything like that. But you put the right guy at the helm, he can turn talent, turn players to talented players or non-talented players, give them talent. You can win a World Series. And I think that's what's going on in Arizona. And they're just drawing people to play out there. But again, they got to beat the Dodgers, and you got to throw the Giants into that conversation too. So
and the Padres.
Correct.
I agree with you on Burns, but I thought the one team I thought would make a more serious run at him was the Orioles.
Yeah, and that's where he pitched. That's where he was with last year, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
If I'm wrong. Baltimore, that's interesting too because they have a lot of young talent. I mean, they may have.
Their farm system is
loaded.
It's loaded. They could And I'm going to say this. They could still go out and trade for a pitcher.
And they might be doing that.
And,
And they might do that.
and maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, they're in the thick of it in the AL East. They showed that last year. I know they were at the top and they kind of filtered out in the end, and the Yankees won the division. But yeah, they have the opportunity to do that. They have the prospects to do that, to make a trade.
And then Danny, and this is an interesting one. Danny Jansen signing with the Rays for 1 year. I didn't expect the Rays to make that kind of move at catcher. What's your stance on? Where do you stand on that signing?
Covering the Rays last year as a media member, the one thing that I got to hear from the veteran guys that have been there since the team, came in 1996 or 97, I think 98. 98 is when the Rays were brought into baseball. The Rays have never developed a catcher. They never have. All their catchers have either been through trades or anything else. And Danny Jansen's not one of those either. But Alex Jackson, guys, he was hitting under 200 last year.
He was, as a Rays fan, and this is coming directly from a Rays fan and somebody that works in the.
Yeah, so they're trying to upgrade a catcher. That's been the position that's really kind of hampered the Rays, I would say, over the last 4 or 5 years.
Since Deoner Navarro left.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
And again, this is coming from a Rays fan and somebody that works in the media for the Rays. When you hear from both of us that Alex Jackson was just pitiful,
you don't want to hear the comments that I got to hear from the veteran writers. They'd say, "Why is Cash putting this guy on the lineup? He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Even if he was 50 feet from the barn, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn." I mean, that's what they were saying. But honestly, that's what they were saying.
I was saying the same thing, so I don't blame them.
Wow,
and it wasn't any better with Rene Pinto catching either.
No.
The only thing, he wasn't good at the plate, but with Pinto, he was good. He had a good pop time. That was the only positive of having Rene Pinto catching, is he could throw out runners. Alex Jackson really couldn't. But let's get back on track. Could you see the Rays or Red Sox making any more signings this offseason?
Well, up till this point, as I was reading, I read today on MLB.com that Alex Bregman is either going to be a Tiger or a Red Sox. I don't know how close either one of those teams are to signing him. I also know that Nolan Arenado is another one that's a Red Sox are favored to get him. The Red Sox, unlike in the past, and I'm a Red Sox fan even though I cover the Rays in the media, and I'm a Rays fan as well, but the Red Sox didn't spend money. And the past couple years, you can see why they've been near the bottom. I know they finished third in the AL East this year. That's because the Rays kind of faltered out and the Blue Jays can't get it together in Toronto. I don't know why. They have a lot of talent on that baseball team. But anyway, I don't think the Red Sox are, and the Rays can't be done. The Rays need bats. That was the one thing last year when they lost Arozarena and guys like that. When you trade those guys away, your offense goes away, and then everything is on Brandon Lau. And me and Alec were talking before we came on the air. He's injury prone, guys. I mean, and
hold up. There's one other thing he's good for. He's good against left-handed pitching.
He is.
That's about it.
He is.
And I know people have heard this phrase before. He is a 3 true outcomes kind of guy. He either gets you a home run, he either strikes out, or he either grounds out, or he's hurt.
He had a couple walk-off hits at some of the games that I was at this year. I think he had a walk-off hit in the 10th inning or something. He lined the ball through the right side of the infield where most left-handed hitters will hit the ball. But he had a game-winning hit. So, I mean, he, like Alex said, home run, strikeout, or he gets a hit, or he grounds out. Those are the four aspects of Brandon Lau. But, yeah, I mean, that's the bright thing.
Bat, and I know we're going to talk about trades tomorrow, but what bat could you see the Rays going out and getting? Could you see him going out and getting like a Verdugo maybe?
See, I don't know, Bud, with what's going on with the stadium. I know that they now sent a letter to the city of St. Pete that they want Tropicana Field ready by the start of the 2026 season. That was in the media. It's been on the radio locally in the Tampa Bay area that they want the stadium patched back up by 2026. So if I'm whoever's doing it, they better get on that now because there was a lot of damage done to the Trop by Hurricane Milton. So that's going to be interesting. But again, with them not playing at Tropicana Field and them playing at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, where you averaged, I think the average Bud last year was like 17,000, 18,000 at the Trop. You're only going to get 11,000 at Steinbrenner Field. They should sell out. That there should be no doubt that they sell out all their games in Tampa, and that's where they want to play anyway. I don't know how much money Eric Nander's going to have to play with because Sternberg is not one of those who is willing to give up money if he's not going to get something back for it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he's not going to make an investment if he knows he's not going to make money off, and he's know that the concessions are going to be down, parking is going to be down this year, so they're not going to make as much revenue. So I don't know how they're going to solve that problem. So we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think either team is done as far as bringing players in.
Well, you kind of skipped over my question on Verdugo. Do you think the Rays send him an offer for maybe one or 2 years?
And they could use him because he's an outfielder. They definitely could use him.
You could put him in center field.
Yeah,
and then
you lost Siri. They traded Siri to the Mets. So yeah, you could definitely.
Well, but what I've heard, the reason they traded Siri, he was not very good in the locker room, and they liked what they saw in the small sample size from Johnny DeLuca, and they want to give him more at bats per se. And same with Josh Lowe, which next week we have a podcast episode centered around the American League where we're going to make win total predictions and talk about players to watch. And they've got a couple outfield prospects that they think might crack the opening day roster. And one of them was already added to the 40-man roster after they got rid of Jose Siri. But so with Bregman, but let's go in depth about Alex Bregman. So it's down to the Tigers and Red Sox. If you had to predict a deal for Bregman to either the Tigers or Red Sox, how many years and how much money do you think he gets?
Well, he's still a great third baseman. Obviously, you have Devers in Boston. So unless they move Devers to the DH role, but then that would take out Yoshi. So that would be something that they would have to figure in there. But I'm assuming Bregman's going to want. I'm not going to say he's not going to get Soto money. I don't think something like that. No. But I could say I could see somewhere in the 5 area in the, I don't know, $250 million area because Bregman's going to call at least 50, I mean, something like that. I mean, it's going to be somewhere in that neighborhood, 40, 50 million a year. Because again, he's a good hitter. He's going to hit you home runs. He's going to get you RBIs. And again, plays good defense. So he's an all-around player. So that would be my prediction. I guess it depends too. I don't know what the money is in Detroit. I don't know what the Tigers are looking for, but something like that. I would assume somewhere in that category.
I'm going to say it's probably going to be. And I did a video earlier in the offseason, and I had Bregman going to the Red Sox for 8 years at 90 to $92 million.
Okay.
And I didn't get any comments, but then I work with somebody that is a Red Sox fan, and I asked him, how would you feel about if the Red Sox signed Bregman to like an 8-year deal for almost $300? He's like, I'd like it, but he wouldn't play third base.
No. Nope, because you got Devers over there, and you're not going to take a power bat out of the lineup. Yeah.
Okay, so then we've got Roki Sasaki.
The pitcher,
and,
right?
Yes. And the teams that have met with him are the Padres, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Astros, and then there was one unnamed team that met with him. And people are jumping to the conclusion that it's the Rays. I want to know what you think, but I'm going to say this. I don't see a reason to add him. We just re-signed Drew Rasmussen to a 2-year extension, and then you got rid of Jeffrey Springs. What would be the point of bringing in another starter unless you're still not done dealing one of your starters in your rotation, like Littell or
I think the best last year, again, with the games that I got to attend, Taj Bradley is a star in the making. That kid is a grinder. The kid goes out there. If he struggles, he somehow finds his way out of it. So, and you get Shane McClanahan back. And that's going to be the big thing this year is how will he...
Well, and you get a full year of Shane Boz.
And Shane Boz. And I got to see him come back too. And I got to see, yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I guess, Bud, the only thing is maybe bringing him in because they're not sure what they're going to get out of Boz and McClanahan. So they want to bring in another starter just in case. But again, they're the ones who implemented the whole,
opener.
Opening strategy. So we'll see how. Some games that work.
Or there's another theory. Maybe they go to a 6-man rotation to ease McClanahan and Boz back into the field of pitching in the regular season.
That could be true too. Absolutely.
But so back to Sasaki. Who ultimately, and I want contract, what team, how much money he gets, how many years, where do you think he ends up signing? And then I'll say where I think he ends up signing.
Well, again, if the Dodgers are interested, I wouldn't obviously take them out of the equation because somehow they always
but I forgot to say this. His agent came out and said that he wants Sasaki to go to a smaller market.
Okay.
Because he couldn't take the media.
Oh, yeah.
The media in Japan.
And
so that eliminates the Dodgers then.
Yeah, because you're going to have the Japanese media will always be at every game because
of Ohtani.
And the Rays play the Dodgers this year, and they were talking about that there's going to be a crap ton of Japanese media at was supposed to be a Tropicana Field now at Steinbrenner Field, but so small market. So again, but what were the teams that he was linked
Padres,
to?
Dodgers, Mets, Red Sox, Yankees, and then an unnamed team, which it could be the Tigers, could be the Rays. Could be the
because
Angels.
really none of those franchises are small markets, because even San Diego is a large medium market. I mean, Boston, Boston, you're gonna have a big pressure on you in Boston. New York, I mean, you struggle, they'll eat you for breakfast.
Oh,
Ask,
oh,
ask
oh,
Aaron
oh.
Rodgers. Ask Aaron Rodgers how that worked out for him. But what it comes down to that in some cases, players, even if they're foreign or wherever they come from, they can't handle the pressure of the media, because again, the media is tough in some markets. Boston, New York, LA, those are three big media markets. So yeah, I mean, the Rays would make a lot of sense because the media market's not so big. The media in Tampa, they'll ask questions, tough questions here and there, but they're not as hard on you, say, as New York. I mean, it would be interesting to see what team
Well,
he
and they
ends up
said
being.
San Diego because of you, Darvish.
Well, that would make sense. And if he goes to the Padres, the pressure wouldn't be really on him. It would be on you. And then really that team is good. I mean, they're a good baseball team. They've come out of the dark days, if what you want to call them, of San Diego. They're starting to play pretty well. I got to see them last year play the Rays. But yeah, I mean, that would be a good fit, because again, the medium market is not as large as LA and New York and Boston. So San Diego would be that small market, unless it's Tampa. So yeah.
Okay, so for you at San Diego, what does the contract look like?
He's a starting pitcher, and the market, again,
Corbin Burns set the market.
yeah. Yeah. What was his deal? What did he sign with?
6
with
years for, I believe it was like 200 million.
Okay, so roughly about 30
Five,
million,
30.
30, 32, 33 million and change. I would say at least 30 million, maybe. Okay, so you know what? I'll just throw this out there. Let's say 5 for 100 million. 5 years, $100 million with the Padres. I could see that. 20 million a year, something like that. I don't think he's in Corbin Burns's
No.
galaxy or anything like that. Yeah.
I mean, they did say he had really good stats in Japan, but I'm also going to go San Diego for the sole reason of you, Darvish, recruiting him there. And I'm going to say I don't want to go anything higher than 7 because I think he's like 30 years old. So
Yeah.
6 years at roughly between 90 to $100 million.
Okay.
So slightly below what Corbin Burns got, but not higher than what Corbin Burns got. Then we've got a couple of outfielders. Jerickson Profar. He was with the Padres last year. Where does he sign? He's an outfielder.
He came into his own last year in San Diego. He was a hot commodity there for a while. He really had a rough coming into the league, from what I've heard, and again, talking to the Padre media last year when they were here playing the Rays. He's had it tough. Did they say he's not going to resign with San Diego, or is he just going to
They didn't. He was a non-tender free agent.
Okay.
They non-tendered him. So
I'm trying to think of. I mean,
I've heard the Red Sox. I've heard the Rays. Heard New York. Both New York teams, because the Mets might look to get rid of Starling Marte.
And Marte is an aging guy. I mean, that would make sense to send him there with Soto. That would make sense.
What does the contract look like, though?
For him, Um, 6 years, $480 million. Yeah, I mean he's an up and coming
Did
star,
you
and again, if
say,
you
hold
want,
up, did you say 480 million
oh,
or
that's it. I'm
80?
sorry, not 480 million. I would say not. No, that's $80 million a year. No, that's way up there.
That's
Let's
ridiculous.
let's split that in half. Let's say 6 years, 240 million. Let's just say 40 million a year. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun there. My fault, because that's 80 million a year. You're looking, that's Soto money and Otani money. I'm not. Yeah, no, he's not that type of player. No.
Um, and you said he signs with the
Mets. I think
Mets.
he would be good with Soto. That would be a good outfield combination out there. And again, you get rid of Marte because he's an aging guy, and you get a younger guy coming in.
And you got some prospects that are probably ready to come up for the Mets that are also outfielders.
Okay.
I'm gonna go outside the box. This team has not been talked about by either of us on the podcast tonight. The Chicago Cubs.
Oh, okay.
But not to play outfield.
I thought you were going to say the White Sox, and I'm like, wait a minute.
No.
He has to go to play the White Sox. The Cubs, yeah.
The Cubs, not to play the outfield because they've already got a log jam in the outfield, unless they get rid of another outfielder. I think they signed him to play third base.
Okay.
Because they need a third baseman. And hear me out, Cubs fans. I know you're not going to like it because it's not a Bregman. It's not a Pete Alonso, which we'll get into Pete Alonso tomorrow, even though he is technically a free agent. But I'm going to go 6 years, $75 million. So that's a roughly 30 million a year.
Something like
for
that.
him. And then Alex Verdugo. And I think he's going under the radar. Not a lot of people are mentioning him for teams being interested. Because I know there's teams out there that still need outfield. The Red Sox.
I don't know. He kind of burned a bridge. When you go from Boston to New York, kind of burn a bridge with a lot of Boston media and a lot of Boston Red Sox fans. I'll have to admit that. Johnny Damon did that. So, yeah, it kind of burns a bridge when you do that.
Manny did that. Manny Ramirez.
That. Yep. So,
well, and then Manny went to, was it Manny Ramirez or Johnny Damon that went to the Rays?
Both.
Or both?
Wait for the Rays. Both of them did at one time.
Yep. Oh, God. Those were the dark days of the Rays.
Yes. Yep.
Sadly to say. So Verdugo, where do you, if you had to make a prediction, where does he sign?
Ooh, that's, again, he's an outfielder. He can hit. He's a left-handed bat, so he can hit.
He does strike out a lot.
He does, and that was one of the reasons why I think, I don't know if it was that he was asking for too much, and that's why the Red Sox let him go. Because, again, when it all came down to it, and they had Devers and Xander Bogaerts to sign, I wanted Xander because I thought he was the better of the two players, and Xander now is doing very well in San Diego, and Devers was on fire this year, so I guess it's hard to tell which one had a better year.
Win-win for both sides.
Yeah, so Verdugo, he's going to go somewhere that needs outfield help. If they, like you were just mentioning the Cubs, if they don't get Profar, then he would be the type of guy, the gritty guy to play in Chicago in front of that crowd at Wrigley. That would be a perfect fit for their.
Yeah, but see, they would have to get rid of at least one more outfielder because they got rid of Bellinger.
Yeah, he's the Yankee.
Suzuki's still there, and Happ is still there. And then you got PCA and Kevin Alcantara. So that's 5 guys right there in the outfield.
To play 3 positions. Yeah, that's a logjam.
Well, they don't have a DH. Did we think about that?
Well, do you move one of those guys into the DH role and let Verdugo play the outfield, or do you sign Verdugo to be a DH? Then again, though, do you want your DH to strike out? You don't want your DH to strike out a lot either. That's not a position you want to have a lot of strikeouts from.
Yeah, but then again, what does the contract look like for Verdugo? Probably short term, maybe 1-2 years with an opt out.
Yeah, I would say 2 years with a 3-year option, and he's not going to get any more than 50, 60 million, something like that. He's an outfielder.
So
and
your prediction is the Cubs?
I would say the Cubs. And you know what? Maybe a long shot. He does sign with the Rays. Maybe they can. That's the one big free agent that they can get to come here and play the outfield. And you stick him out there with DeLuca and
Josh Lowe.
And Josh Lowe. And Josh Lowe. There's another guy that has been hit by the injury bug a lot, but still is able to come up with hits when you need one. But yeah, I mean, he would fit well here. But the Rays have to open up their pocketbooks, and I don't know what Neander and Sternberg are going to do with everything going on.
I'm gonna go outside the box again. Not the Cubs this time. Verdugo to the Reds.
Okay.
Because they need outfield help bad. Jake Fraley, I'm sorry, he was a Ray at one point for a very short amount of time. He didn't even touch the big leagues with the Rays. He was in their minor league system. But Jake Fraley, very good outfielder. But like Verdugo, he strikes out quite a lot. But he is fast. And I think Verdugo would be the perfect fit in Cincinnati because of all the young guys the Reds have. And that's what not a lot of people understand is the Reds have a lot of young talent. And they don't have a lot of veterans on that team. And if you sign Verdugo to maybe a 1 or 2 year deal to be a mentor of the young guys, and then if you're not in it at the deadline, you could flip him and get prospects.
And Ellie De La Cruz is worth every penny. I got to see him this year. The man is a show. He's a show to watch. I hope
he's got a cannon.
I hope that too. I hope he stays in Cincinnati. I don't know how long they'll be able to hold on to him, but
I would if I was the Reds. I understand he's a shortstop, but he's got the arm. Put him in center field.
And what they need to do is what they did in Kansas City with Bobby Witt. You need to sign him before he becomes a free agent. Give him his big boy contract. What's he's on his big boy contract? I don't know what his payroll is now, but give him his big boy.
No, I think he's still under his
rookie deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to pay him before he leaves town.
Okay, so that leads me into, I know we're talking about free agents, but if you're the Reds, what does the contract look like for Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McLean, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Andrew Abbott, Hunter Green? Go one by one.
Well, Ellie De La Cruz, not only, like you said, not only can he hit, and he's got a cannon from shortstop. The man just no one can stop him from stealing bases. It's a pleasure. I got to watch him again. He played in 2 out of the 3 games when the Reds were here. The first game he stole no bases at all. The third game, the final game, which was the biggest crowd the Rays had all season at 23,000 people at Tropicana Field on a Sunday. That's Kids Day. People don't know the Rays do Kids Day on Sundays, but he stole 3 bases. Or no, I'm sorry. He stole 6 that day. I mean, it was just it's something to watch.
It's a must-see movie, basically.
As soon as he gets on base,
he's
going to be a third before you know it. Blink your eye. He's already
and if they overthrow a base, he might end up at home.
Oh yeah, because he has the speed. He flies around the bases.
He's
Fly.
like a gazelle.
So he's gonna get paid handily. He's gonna make, I would say 5 years, 250 million, 5 years, 300 million. Because again, he can hit, he can play short.
Would you go higher than 5 years?
Would you say, 8 years?
10 years?
10 years? 10 years at what, 500 mil? 50, 50,
Yeah.
50 million a year? That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I think the Pirates, and we can get back to the Reds, but I think the Pirates need to do the same thing with O'Neal Cruz, who they just moved to the outfield.
I think, and then
like Ellie, O'Neal Cruz has a seed.
Yeah. And I think too, they just brought back Andrew McCutchen. I think he steps away and retires, and they just retire his number because he's a fan favorite for so many years in Pittsburgh. I know he left Pittsburgh and now he's back, but he'll always be a Pirate. So, that's cool. McCutch is back being a Pirate.
It is. Okay, so if you're the Pirates, how much money are you giving O'Neal Cruz, Jared Jones, and Paul Skeens? Well, and Paul Skeens, animal.
We saw that on the All-Star game. How cool was it that he got to face Aaron Judge? That was, I don't know if that
he made Aaron Judge look.
Yeah. I don't know if that was all set up because he had Soto and they gave him a walk. I don't know if the umpire they wanted to see him face Aaron Judge. Skeens is going to.
I would give him 14 years at. He is worth every penny.
Oh, yeah.
540 million.
Yeah, he's going to win a Cy Young before, maybe many Cy Youngs before his career is over. Yeah, it's going to be interesting when they have to sign those guys. Same thing with all the Reds with signing. They're going to have to break it down. Obviously, again, we both know there's no salary cap in baseball. But if you're not a big market team like the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Red Sox are, it's hard to keep these guys around for so long. And Alec can say this about the Rays. You bring these guys through, they have a couple good years, and then they can't keep them, and then they get shipped off somewhere else.
Look at perfect example, Evan Longoria.
It was honestly when they announced last year that the stadium deal had been done, and then of course I went through a bunch of hoops, and finally it came back to being done again. It was kind of cool to see him back there. And the City Connect jerseys are badass. I don't mean to cuss on air, but those are so cool.
Yes, they are. They're the best. They are,
to see
they're the best City Connect uniforms in MLB.
I agree. And somehow, some way, the Marlins got the #1 vote. I don't know how. If you go back and last year, they got the #1 vote. But I'm like, okay, but how many fans got to see them play? They have the lowest
0
in all of MLB. But when it comes to any big time guys, you're going to get long-term deals for a lot of money. O'Neal with the Pirates, Skeens, those guys are going to get long-term deals to keep them in Pittsburgh or keep them in Cincinnati. You don't want those guys leaving and going elsewhere and breaking all kinds of records. I mean, rest in peace, Ricky Henderson. He's the all-time steals leader. Noah Cruz could be the next guy to do that. Like, records are meant to be broken. I think the only record in baseball that may stand the test of time is
Lou Gehrig.
Lou Gehrig.
No, DiMaggio.
56 game hitting streak. I don't think that'll ever be broken. That's hard to have 56 games in a row with at least a hit. That's hard in today's MLB. That's very hard.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
There's people that have gotten kind of close, but I don't ever think.
I think the closest, has been like 20 or 30 games in a row, and then they kind of grip that bat a little harder, But yeah, I think the 56 game win or hitting streak, I think, is safe. I think it's safe.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the City Connect jerseys from last year.
I want to say, but it may have been either Score.com or Bleacher Report that did a ranking on all of them. The Rays were up there in the top 5, but I think the Marlins got either the Marlins or the Padres. I don't remember which. I think it was the Marlins because the whole Spanish colors. Because again, Miami is more known. A lot of Spanish-speaking people live in Miami. Cuban in general. So yeah, but it could have been one of those two websites, Bud. That
I'm pulling it up right now. City Connect.
Okay.
Unis 2024. Tracking MLB City Connect now. That's not what we need. '24 City Connect now. Oh, okay. Think I found it. Bleacher Report. Let's see. And we can talk about this right now. I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Okay.
And there it is. Oops. Oh, right there. Okay, so let's see here. So there's the Dodger City Connect. What do you think of that?
Which one? But I all I'm seeing is the links on the page. I don't see any pictures of anything.
Oh, you don't see?
No, all I see, buddy, is the you got the Yahoo thing open, and all I see is the links. Oh, there we go. There you go. That was just right there.
Okay, let me go back. Let me know if you can. Can you see it, or are you just seeing the link?
Just seeing the links. There we go. Now I can see it. I got L.A.
The Dodgers.
That's the Dodgers. That's kind of boring. I'm gonna admit that. I mean,
yeah, they could have done better.
Anything better than that? I mean, that's not.
And they said that was number 27.
27. Okay.
Design number 1. Okay, so there's the Dodgers. 26, Detroit Tigers. Don't hate it.
No, I mean they are the Motor City. I mean, it kind of goes in hand with the city. So, yeah, that's cool.
Okay, 25, Milwaukee.
The baby blue with the Brew Crew. Again, I think there could have been some more into that jersey.
They could have done better at being creative.
Correct.
24. The Texas.
That one.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Atrocious.
Yep. Nope. I agree.
Mm-hmm. 22 since 23 Cincinnati Reds. I like it.
I like the black. I do. I like the black. The black and red go very well together. I like that. And then the Cincy across the chest. I like that.
22. The Phillies.
They
don't hate it.
Yeah, they got away from their white and red. I mean, you know.
Could have done better.
Yep.
Pittsburgh Pirates. I love it.
The
Yeah.
PGA.
Mm-hmm. And
But
look
see,
who the picture is.
yeah, Kutch. At least they kept their colors. I like the black and gold. They kept their colors. I like that.
The yellow jersey with the black
Mm-hmm.
pants. I like it. Number 20, Chicago Cubs.
Wrigleyville.
Wrigleyville.
Eh, eh.
Yeah, pass. No
Yeah.
thanks. I would not buy that jersey. Nope. Nope. Number 19, San Francisco Giants. Yeah.
Mm.
No.
I mean, you got the bridge on the sleeve. Nah. Mm. Nah.
I'm gonna say this. The way I would fix the Giants City Connect is I would put the bridge where the G is.
There you go. I like that idea. Yeah, the Golden Gate Bridge. Yep. I agree.
And we can say what we would change on the City Connect if we don't like it.
Okay.
If we do, just leave it. Number 18, Baltimore Orioles.
Kind of looks like their regular uniforms.
It does, minus the Baltimore across the
Chest. I know they already have an orange. They already wear an orange shirt too. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, the only thing I would change about this is I would keep the Baltimore, but then I'd put the little Oriole thing, their logo, on like one of the shoulders.
Okay.
Number 17, Kansas City Royals. I'll say this. I don't mind the jersey. I don't like the color. I don't like the color at all.
The dark blue with the baby blue.
Yeah. It doesn't fit together.
No, I mean,
would you change it?
I would probably get rid of the number on the chest, that area. And if you got rid of that number and do this, take the baby blue number off the front and make the number on the back of your jersey and the name baby blue, leave the KC white with the royal blue jersey and the baby blue on the back. Maybe do something like that. But yeah, the colors just don't go to, but again, that's the Royals colors, is that dark blue.
Maybe they should put us in charge of creating these City Connect jerseys.
That would be cool. That's a payday. I could take that.
Toronto Blue Jays at 16. I don't see anything there. So,
is it further down, maybe, or I don't know? That's because they're not showing a jersey. They're showing. Oh, there they are. They're black with.
Yeah.
It looks like they just took the white jersey that they normally wear and made it black and added the Canadian red. They could do better.
Pass. Way better. Number 15, the New York Mets. I don't mind it.
Yeah, the gray. So they've gotten away from the blue and orange. I
don't mind it. All I would do is I'd make the NY. I'd change the color of the NY. I'd make it something that sticks.
Okay.
Sticks out a little more.
What you could do, bud, is make N blue, Y orange, and do that. Make the letters stand out. Make them different colors. Make them stand out that way.
Yeah. Number 13, St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, that
atrocious.
I was gonna say the Lou. I mean, I understand it is St. Louis.
You can do better.
Yeah, they could do better. I like
Other than I like the logo, but there's too much there. Simplify it.
Yeah.
Simplify what you're making the fans look at and buy if they want to buy it.
Right.
Number 13, Boston Red Sox. You know what? I'm going to say I like it.
Well, this is to represent the Boston Marathon, and that's why they wear the yellow and blue. The marathon happens every year on Patriot Day, which the Red Sox always play a day game on Patriots Day. I don't mind it. It kind of throws back to the old the old Brooklyn Dodgers when they had the royal blue and white. It kind of throws back to that, but these colors represent the Boston Marathon. If people don't know, that's why they wear those colors.
I like it though. Number 12, San Diego Padres. Oh God. Oh Lord, have mercy. Oh
Right.
Lord.
Too bright. Turn it down a little bit, guys.
Whew. I might need to go get my eyes checked.
Yeah, too bright.
Ooh.
Too bright.
You won the award for stands out the most.
Yeah, true.
Ooh, too many colors.
Yep.
You got
pink, but it is California.
Green.
So it is California.
Pink, green, turquoise, yellow. Just if we could simplify that a little bit, San Diego, then we'd be okay. Who is number 10? Number 10. Number 11, the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That jersey's cool.
Yes,
the black
it is.
With the skateboard logo.
I'm sorry, it should be higher.
Okay.
I think they're criminally underrating the Rays City Connect uniforms.
And they won a lot of games in those. They won a lot of games in those jerseys.
Yes, they did. So who's number 10?
The Astros.
No. Sorry, Astros fans. Absolutely not. Those are hideous.
Representing the Houston, where they launched the shuttles and stuff from being Space City. Yeah.
Yeah.
Houston, you have a problem.
Houston, we have a problem. You should be behind the Rays in the City Connect jerseys, not ahead of them. Who is number 9? Please tell me number 9 is somebody that's not as atrocious as that. Why do I have a bad feeling that it's the
Mariners? That's going back to the old days when Griffey.
Yeah, that's I'll give him a pass.
Yeah,
it's paying tribute to the King Griffey Jr., Felix Hernandez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Mariners. Yep.
Number 8, the Atlanta Braves.
That's the old Hank Aaron jersey. I mean, that's what he wore when he played for them. Yeah, I mean, other than they put the in front of the A on the jersey. Other than that,
why?
Yeah, good question. Take it away. Just leave it. Just wear your throwback jersey like they wore back in the day when they were first a franchise. So why not?
Number 7.
Ooh, Cleveland.
Oh gosh.
First of all, it should be the Indians, not the Guardians, and that's just my.
I agree with you.
I don't know what you're guarding in Cleveland, but I'm not sure what you're guarding in Cleveland. But
nothing. And their minor league, their AAA team's not even in Cleveland. It's in Columbus.
Yeah, there you go. Well, actually, the Chicago White Sox AAA team is in Charlotte, North Carolina. Not even in Chicago. So there you go. I went by their.
I'm sorry, Guardians fans. Hate on me all you want. Y'all should be behind the Rays. The Mariners are fine where they are. Guardians and Astros should be behind the Rays.
Yeah.
In the City Connect uniforms. Number 6.
Chicago
The
White
White.
Sox.
Oh God.
Well, that kind of looks like a prison uniform, but again, playing for the White Sox is like being in prison, so kind of fits them.
No, it feels like you're put at the lunch table, but you don't get to sit with your friends. You have to sit all the way in the corner, away from everybody, and think about what you did. To me, that's what these City Connect uniforms scream. Is
Southside.
Okay.
Little
So,
brother of Chicago.
yep, perfectly said.
Little brother of Chicago.
Arizona Diamondbacks.
Wow. No. Again, should be behind the Rays. This one definitely should be behind the Rays.
Yes, it definitely should. I mean, I don't mind the colors, but you can't read the name on the front.
Yeah. I like the hat with the A. That fits well.
I do too.
They need to change the saying on the front of the jersey. Yeah.
Number 4. Los Angeles. You know what? I actually like it. I don't mind it.
There's one player that I feel the worst for. That dude has put his heart and soul and blood and tears, and they just are absolutely horrible in LA. The Angels are not so much the Dodgers, but yeah, I know the jersey itself is great. It's got the halo over the A from the old California Angels before they became the Anaheim Angels,
and the square number, with the number in it. Yes.
Yes.
Don't Angels, make that your City Connect next year. Do not change it.
I like the halo. That's my favorite part of that jersey is the halo.
Number 3, Colorado Rockies. No.
Doesn't go along with the pink. Doesn't go along with the purple and black. No.
And you got a guy that just retired as the photo. Don't get me wrong, Charlie Blackmon was one of the best players the Rockies ever had.
Yep.
Modern day.
Yeah, Todd Helton, I think, would be the best that ever played in a Rockies uniform.
Yeah. But no, their City Connect uniforms are awful.
Ugh.
And how are they ahead of the Rays?
No, and that one also should be behind the Rays.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Lord. I am afraid to see who number 2 is.
The Nats.
The Nats. I don't mind it. I'm not going to hate. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Don't mind it at all. Who is? Oh, God. Why do I feel like?
I'm telling you, it's the Marlins. I told you. I told you it was the Marlins. Now, you tell me how that represents Miami. I've never
tell by my facial reaction.
I've never
that is absolutely, 1, pitiful, and 2, that doesn't describe Miami at all.
Well, technically it does because it's red and blue, meaning the flag colors of Cuba, and a lot of Cuban people live in Miami, so maybe that's why they went that route. I don't know. That's just my.
But how are they number 1?
When the list came out, and they put that, and I'm like, how is that the number 1 City Connect jersey?
The Rays should be number 1.
I agree.
The Rays or the Reds?
Oh yeah. I mean, there were a couple of them that are higher on this list that should be down near the bottom or near the number 1 spot than this one should be. But again, yeah.
And can't even keep half their players.
Yeah, I don't know who is more of a mess, if it's Miami or the White Sox. I'm not sure which organization. It's got some serious issues for both those teams, but yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, like you just said, I mean, who's been trading more players this offseason? The Marlins. They got rid of Jake Berger. And we can talk about this more in depth tomorrow, but we can talk a little bit about it right now. But yeah, the Marlins, they have just been wheeling and dealing.
Well, I mean, if you look,
Luzardo, Berger,
if you look back, brother, you're looking at a team that won 2 World Series, and then the year after they dismantled the team.
yep.
Both World Series in 97 and 03, they dismantled the teams after both of those World Series championships. So, yeah.
Now let's talk about some prospects for both the Rays and Red Sox who we think, and again, we also are going to talk about this next week, but we're going to talk about it right now too. Some prospects for the Rays and Red Sox who we think might have a chance of cracking the opening day roster this year. And Bradley, as a Red Sox fan, I will give you the honor of going first.
Okay. I actually only had my notes for the trades and free agents. As far as the prospects go, of course, Boston, I think, has gotten a little bit better with their minor league system. I think during the Ortiz and Ramirez days, they would trade a lot of those guys away to bring free agents in, like Kurt Schilling and go down the list. JD Drew, all of those guys were all
Colby, well, no, Ellsbury was drafted by the Red Sox.
Yeah, Ellsbury was drafted by the Red Sox, and he was one of those guys that came up. And
Marcelo Meyer?
Maybe. My favorite Red Sox, currently, now he retired recently, was Dustin Pedroia. I was always a PD fan. And I David Ortiz. I mean, can't hate David Ortiz if he's a Red Sox fan. And he went into the Hall of Fame all by himself. I don't understand MLB's like voting system.
I don't either. But so I'll name you a couple of Red Sox prospects, and you tell me whether yes, they'll make the opening day roster or no. But you tell me when you think they might be called up. First one, obviously, is Marcelo Meyer, and we've been hearing about him for 3 years now.
What position does he play?
Infield. He's shortstop, second base.
Well, if they bring Bregman in, I would say maybe, I don't think he makes the opening day roster this year, but maybe they call him up throughout the year, or if not, it'll be the 2026 season, because it'll depend on. So let's see, can he play first base?
He could play second, short, third, but he's mostly been a shortstop.
So
and I've heard rumblings from other Red Sox fans that I know that they're talking about maybe moving Story to second base.
Well, if they do that, and if if they move Story to second and they don't get Bregman, he makes the opening day roster. There's no doubt. Like you said, you've been hearing about this guy for 3 years. He makes the opening day roster this year, hands down, coming out of.
Even if he struggles in spring.
Well, I mean, to fill that role, they may give him that opportunity just to come up and see again. That's the cool thing about baseball amongst all the other sports is if you don't do well, they can send you back to the minor leagues to let you.
Well, hockey, they can kind of do that too, but if you're under like 20 years old, they send you back to juniors.
Juniors, yeah.
But okay, so I've got 3 more. Christian Campbell. He's I believe, an outfielder, and he got to AAA this year.
Okay, so
they were talking about if the Red Sox made the playoffs, that he might have came up.
I could see him possibly. I don't know, though. The Red Sox have such a good outfield right now. It's hard.
Duran, Abreu. Who's your left fielder?
Who played left field last year?
It wasn't Yoshida, because according to some people, he's a defensive
liability. Because he was mostly a DH. Trying to remember who played.
Duran and Rafaela were your center
Rafael.
fielders.
I was gonna say, was it Rafael? Did he start when they put Abreu and Duran in center, and then Abreu was in right?
But see, the thing with Rafaela is he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He could play the outfield, but he can also play short.
Yeah, he's a good guy to. He's a utility guy. Those are good guys, and he can hit too. Yeah, I mean, obviously they need if they don't have a left fielder, but see, left field is so hard to play at Fenway because of the wall. That's a hard position for a rookie. I know they have a wall in Fort Myers, but it's not the Green Monster. I mean,
and they have one, I think, in Pawtucket too.
Okay. So, yeah, it would be hard for a rookie to come up, but again, if they need outfield help, I would say this year or start of next year for him.
What about Roman Anthony? He was another one that I think got to AAA this year. And if there was a little more time in the season, they were talking about he might have got a promotion to the big leagues because he was mashing in AAA.
And what position does he play by?
Outfield.
Yeah, see, that's the whole thing is, I don't know how many outfielders can you bring up?
Abreu, you could put Abreu in left and then put one of these two rookies in right so they don't have to deal with the wall.
Yeah, but then you got to deal with the pesky pole and that short porch in right field too. So, yeah, and then if you put him in center, and you got to deal with the triangle. So yeah, it's Fenway Park's tough. I've been to the stadium. Fenway Park is tough to play the outfield. But again, if they, depending on who they decide to sign or whatever, you could definitely see one of these two guys coming up, if not both, coming up to play right field or left field, because you can move Abreu to DH and sit Yoshi for a game and bring him up as a pinch hitter down the road for somebody too.
Well, unless you trade Yoshida.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do that because he was such a big commodity when they got him. And I mean, he's had some downs, but he's also had some ups. So I'm curious to see how they play him this year, how that all breaks down.
Okay, so with the Rays, there's a few prospects that could be on the opening day roster, and I'm here to say the first one is Chandler Simpson, who, including my co-host, if you have not watched any Chandler Simpson highlights, highly recommend it. He's an outfielder. He's probably the next Ellie De La Cruz when it comes to speed. He set the record for stolen bases. Actually, I'm going to look it up. I believe he set the record for stolen bases in the minor leagues this year.
Cool.
Which is not something you see all that often.
Right.
Simpson. We are going to share screen. See if I can find it. Chandler Simpson baseball reference. See his info. $14.99 for a limited time. Oh, I didn't know that he could play everywhere. Trying to find his stats more. We're going to do it like this. Chandler Simpson stats. So last year, between two teams for the Rays, Chandler Simpson and Bowling Green and Montgomery had stole 31 bases in at Montgomery, and then 73. Oh no, that's in Bowling Green, so that's high A. He stole 31 bases. And then when they called him up to Double A, he stole 73.
Yeah, so he's
stealing machine. Base. Yeah, and he's only been combined between Double A, High A, and Double A. He only got caught 5 plus 12 plus 5. He only got caught 17 times between the two levels. So if that doesn't tell you that he's he can't only steal bases, he can also get on base. He's a very good hitter. He's very disciplined at the plate. If you watch any of his tape, he doesn't swing at pitch. He's not a Yandy Diaz. He is a Yandy Diaz. He doesn't chase outside the zone.
Right.
Which, that's another thing we can get into tomorrow with Yandy Diaz, is will he still be on the Rays at the start of the season, or will he be gone? Because the next prospect I'm going to talk about is Xavier Isaac, which when the Rays drafted him originally, everybody was looking at the Rays like, why did you reach for a kid that was in high school at the time that was not very productive? But then now you look at him and you look at his minor league stats. He hits home runs, he gets RBIs, he gets on base. Who does that remind you of that's currently on the Rays? That's plays first base. Maybe minus the home runs.
He's first base. Oh, Yandy Diaz is a first baseman.
Mm-hmm. He's the Yandy Diaz prototype, but the thing with Yandy is Yandy doesn't hit a lot of home runs. Xavier Isaac does, and he was a standout in the Arizona Fall League.
Okay.
So there's two, and then I understand Taylor Walls is probably going to be the shortstop to start the year. But what people don't know is he's just a placeholder because they got Carson Williams that, like Marcelo Meyer, people have been talking about the last, well, I'm not going to say 3 years because nobody really knew about him until midway through this year, so half year. And he is very agile when it comes to being a shortstop. Fields has a really good arm, and I don't think he's going to make the opening day roster. And I'll get back to the other two guys in a second. But I do think the Rays, any glimmer of Taylor Walsh struggling, I think that's when they pull the plug. And I know Taylor Walsh is a fan favorite because of his defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Kevin Cash loves him some Taylor Walsh. But any sense if he struggles, that's when they pull the plug and they call up Carson Williams. I don't know who they send down or if they DFA somebody because I don't think Carson Williams is on the 40-man roster.
No.
But he's not. And then the other two guys, so Xavier Isaac, I think the only way he makes the opening day roster is, well, there's two ways. One, he mashes in spring training and he gives the Rays no other option but then to have him on the opening day roster. Or two, and this is the one I don't want to see happen, but I still have a inkling of a feeling that it might, and that is Yandy Diaz gets traded because there is still a team out there that does need first base. And it's not the Red Sox. It's not the Blue Jays. It is their division rivals. I don't care that they signed Goldschmidt, which we completely forgot to talk about him.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul Goldschmidt. Sorry, Christian. Well, we could talk about Christian Walker in a second. But I do think the Yankees still need first base. And I think they're going to end up calling the Rays and trading for Yandy Diaz. I don't know what a package would look like for Diaz. We could talk about that tomorrow. And then the last guy, Chandler Simpson. They did put Jake Mangum on the 40-man roster. But I think the way Chandler Simpson makes the opening day roster is he's just got to find a way to grind out long at bats, get on base, steal bases. He has a really good arm in the outfield, but the outfield is still deep. You've got Josh Lowe, Johnny DeLuca, Richie Palacios.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the one many people forget. Brandon Lau. Brandon Lau can play the outfield too. Even though he doesn't really do it anymore. But, or whoever they decide to go out and sign at free agency. And then now the last thing we're going to talk about tonight is we are going to talk about the Christian Walker signing. I believe he signed with, he didn't re-sign with Arizona. It was, can you look it up real quick?
Sure.
Christian Walker. He signed with somebody. I can't remember.
Kendrick High School. Houston Astros.
That's who it was. Good. Do you think that's a good signing for them?
Yeah, because they've lost a lot of bats in that lineup, and that's a position really. I'm not going to say has been an issue for Houston, but it's something that could be better, and I think Christian will definitely help them at first. So, yeah, I think it's a good sign.
I agree with you, but when I did the predictions earlier in the offseason, I had him signing with, I believe, the Twins for like 2 or 3 years. Because the Twins, that's another team that they need first base. They haven't had a first baseman since Justin Morneau.
Yeah.
I mean, they played Joe Mauer there for a little bit, but Joe Mauer was a catcher.
Catcher. Yeah, he was the catcher. Yep.
But I think that for tonight, that's going to wrap it up for Alec and Bradley. We will see you guys again tomorrow at the same time, 5:45.
Sounds good.